Hello, everybody. Welcome to Love Bay Radio. My name is Miss J, and in this episode of Business Weekly, we're going to be exploring the dynamic and rapidly evolving barbering industry. As you know, I love to bring different topics. I love to talk business, and I love to bring on the people who know their industry. Today, we're diving into a vibrant industry that's more than just a craft. It's a booming business reshaping urban landscapes and grooming trends worldwide. I'm Ms. J, like I said, your hostess with the mostest, your drip strategist, and your boss methodologist. Whether you're a seasoned barber or an aspiring entrepreneur, or just simply curious about this $35 billion market, stay tuned as we explore the cutting edge of the barbering industry, where tradition meets innovation with industry expert Keith Gibbs. Now, before we jump in, you know what I like to do. Let's talk stats. You're saying, Miss J, why are we bringing this in today? Well, girl, I want you to get your drinks ready. I want you to get your time up. I got my cup here today. We are enjoying some refreshments and we're going to talk business, right? Now, I thought about the barbering industry because I was looking through, I have two sons. And so when I think of all the years that my kids went to barbers to get their hair done, my husband goes to a barber to get his hair done. They were doing it for themselves for a while, but as you're trying to get a little bit more intricate, or if you're not too handy dandy with the razor, you don't want to end up having a situation. So you tend to go to somebody who knows what they're doing. And if I remember barbering 25, 30 years ago to what it is now, man, the lengths and the things that have been happening. So as always, I like to show people where our industry is now. And for those who are looking to get into barbering, or you've just been cutting here in these streets for free, honey, it is time for you to think about a career or not a business in barbering. So let's throw up some facts. So the first fact I want to share that's trending, where's my producer at? Can I get my screen? There we are. The first one I want to show is the global market right now is valued at approximately $35 billion. Let me say it so you could hear it in the back. The market right now is valued at $35 billion. Market Watch in 2023 has said that it's projected to reach $45 billion by 2027. That's only a year and change away. I know, I hear the razors going because you are hearing the coins dropping, right? The second thing I wanted to share was that over 30% of barbershops are owned by entrepreneurs under the age of 35. Yes, honey, I am 25 and counting, honey. So I understand the young entrepreneurship. But 30% of barbershops are owned by entrepreneurs under the age of 35. And that signifies the industry's growth among young professionals. Now, could you imagine more and more and more as the succession moves forward, you're going to be seeing this growing, like we just said in point number one, that there's an approximate estimation of a $10 billion increase in the next year and a half. Are you with me? Get on these coins, start talking to me, call me, let's get your business going. Third fact I wanted to share, the rise of men's grooming has contributed to a 7 to 10% yearly growth rate in many regions over the past 5 years. 5 years. Men's grooming. So you're starting to see not just the chair, but you're starting to see, they used to do something back in the day, so let's not get that twisted. They used to do the hot towel and they put it on your face, and then the alcohol to do all of the, the cleanup and whatnot. But now it's accelerating, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that with my guest as he comes on. But 7 to 10% yearly growth is great. So if you are out there and you do services, well, let me tell you something. Men are picking up on these services. So gents, get on it. Get on it. And last but not least, there are over 600,000. That's over 500,000 barbershops across the U.S. alone. Okay, and I'm sure that number is bigger because IBSI World stated this in 2023, which means after they do a census, I am sure this number has staggeringly increased based on their projections. Now, are you ready? I'm going to ask this again. Are you ready to capitalize on what we're doing today. Well, I am happy to have with us an expert today, all the way from the United Kingdom in England. Keith Gibbs was a barber educator, a curriculum developer, an industry mentor. He has over 35 years of hands on experience in the barbering industry and more than a decade dedicated to training and educational development. Keith Gibbs stands as a respected authority in barbering education across the UK. He's passionate about raising standards within the industry. Keith combines deep technical expertise with a commitment to nurturing the next generation of barbers through inclusive, engaging, and industry relevant learning. As a barbering tutor for the Learning Curve Group, the LCG, Keith has been formally recognized for his outstanding contributions to education, receiving multiple awards and accolades for excellence in teaching, learner development, and curriculum innovation. He is the founder of Grassroots Barbering School, a platform dedicated to foundational learning and professional development in barbering. Let's put our hands together and welcome to the show, Keith Gibbs. Hello, sir. Where are
Good morning,
you?
everybody. How are you?
That's right. You're ahead of us. What time is it there?
Yes. 12:07.
8
So
a.m. in the morning?
yeah, so I'm
Do I know how to book them or do I know how to book them? So I hope you
yeah.
have coffee while I'm in.
Not coffee, tea, but yeah.
Tea? Okay, that's right. You're British. Hello. What am I thinking? Well, welcome, Keith, and thank you for being up with the time zone difference. Unfortunately, I couldn't change the time of the show because we go live, but I wanted to thank you for being here. Let's talk barbering. So, what got you into barbering first and foremost?
Um, I guess it was a situation where um curiosity got the better of me.
Hmm.
And then granddad, being granddad, the man that he is, came over to cut my brother's hair, and it was a case of here's some clippers, go ahead, start cutting.
Mm,
Um, and then from then on, that was it. I was hooked. Carried on cutting, and then I think after that first initial cut, then I did a couple of friends, um, and then I built myself up, kept training. Most mainly self-taught, really, because there at the time when I started cutting, there weren't many schools,
right.
and they were only delivering what we call an MVQ, which is a national vocational qualification.
Hmm.
I did my MVQ level 1 in 91,
Mm,
um, but didn't really return back to barbering education until 2020 during COVID.
hmm.
Completed my um, MVQ level 2, then did my qualification. But
Right.
prior to that, I had my first shop in 99. Got into partnership with somebody, and then that was it. I ran with it. Um, did that for a few years, made enough money to buy my property, and got out the business for a little while, did some customer service training, and then I've just basically thrown myself into education now. Like you said, training the next set of barbers. I've now left Learning Curve and worked for Milton Keynes College.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, then
training,
you need to update your bio, honey.
yes.
You sending me old
Yeah,
news out here having me pumping the old news.
yeah. No, but it's still relatively relevant because it wasn't that long ago that I left. It was actually end of no, this year that I left. Um,
Okay.
and have since then have been basically building resources for the college that I'm at now, and
Hmm.
Learning Curve as well. So yeah, I've seen the industry grow. I've seen the highs and I've seen the lows. It is definitely an industry that is, and I'll be straight up honest, it's out of three of the most recession-proof industries on the planet.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I
You,
mean, if you think
yeah,
about the last decade, like you're talking about the fact that it's a recession proof, or it's it's a need, right?
yeah.
Obviously it's a need. What do you think has changed? What do you see has evolved in all the years that you've been barbering? What has the industry done differently now than you wouldn't have done probably 10 years ago?
Um, I think now with the advent of technology, social media, it's actually propelled it a lot forward.
Hmm.
In the UK, when we had not the last recession, but two sessions prior to early 2000s, when I'd stepped away from the industry for a little while,
Right.
we saw an influx of people who had decided to change careers. So we're talking about bankers, lawyers, people who were working in the city that literally
Hmm.
got sacked from their role as, high flyers, found themselves with nothing left to do, got into the industry, and it has propelled it forward massively. I know that you said that it was in the States it's worth 35 billion, but it's actually 75 worldwide, 75 billion pounds.
Wow.
And barbers don't even make 0.0001% of that a year.
Why? Why is that the case?
Because of what's involved, the biggest part of the market is actually products. And you're starting to
Mm.
see a lot of guys now who have realized that within the industry, your lifespan as a barber is probably finite, 10 to 20 years.
Hmm.
And you have to basically develop a mindset that you have to diversify and basically grow and get into the products, which is where the
Right.
money's at, because the products alone, especially with somewhere like West Africa, is about 35 billion
Hmm.
alone in black care products.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it has
And
the majority. Yeah.
would you say, and that's because do you think like more men are wearing beards, and are they getting more skin treatments, and the customized
Yes.
haircuts? Do you think all of that has
Yep.
contributed?
Yeah. I started doing the male grooming aspects. I think the first time I actually introduced it into my services was in early 2000s,
Hmm.
by actually studying it. Um, and I only did it because my mum basically used to practice on me. And I thought, oh, this is, yeah,
Guinea pig
you know,
city.
yep. So I thought, oh, this is another money turner,
Yeah,
and
oh, that's
started
it. It's
delivering
true.
it.
I mean, I think at any point, you're right. I mean, in a man's world, it's really a necessity, right, to have somebody
Mm,
who can, especially with the skills to, get that clean look, that cut, that fade, the different levels to the blades and things like that. And I know for like for boys, especially with single moms or just even moms who just like,
mm,
hey, listen, we gonna figure this out because I gotta save that $20 per head,
yeah.
you know and now it's gone up. I mean, obviously with the cost of living and whatnot, it's
Mm,
relatively more expensive, but I think the services are a little higher in terms of what you used to get back in the day, right?
yeah.
10-minute razors cut and then you're good to go, you
Mm.
know
I mean, I think that's come with it. I mean, for a long while, I don't know what is like in the States, but I know that here in the UK, we were paying next to nothing for a haircut.
oh
You
yeah.
know, 10
Oh yeah,
pounds,
10
15
bucks. Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah.
And when you think about the skill levels that most of these barbers have, they're not getting paid enough for what they do.
Hmm.
We are at least twice removed from the medical industry.
Hmm.
Yeah. At one stage, the barbers and dentists and doctors were in one business. And then as time's gone on, they've separated, and barbering has become an entity on its own.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it, we are not earning what our cousins are earning when we should really, but then we've held back. Now, since we've had COVID, a lot of barbers, and I think prices were going up anyway, but a lot of barbers are really starting to push up their prices now. I mean,
Yeah.
I know some barbers are actually charging, say, 25 to 35 pounds, which to me is still low, but it's a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're really, really kind of stepping up and earning their money now.
Yeah, I think this is the one sector where women actually outrank
Yes, big time.
stylists, outrank barbers,
Mm,
with in terms of cost, right? Because I mean, braid ups. Shout out to Crown Beauty for the braid up, yes, honey. Um, braid ups are now, yeah, I mean, minimum are running like 250 because it's a lot. It's a lot of work to be on
yeah.
your foot, especially for the amount of hours to get these styles, and the weaves and the whatnot. And we know that a lace front is a lace front, but there's still that need, right, where people to do here. If we were talking about skills, like you're talking about young guys are getting into the game, let's talk a little bit about what kind of skills should these young entrepreneurs develop to be successful in the industry.
Um, well, mostly when I'm delivering a session, I always say, you know, be creative. As a barber, you're
Mhm.
an artist first and foremost, because you have to have a foresight to see something that's new, that's trending. You need to be in touch with what's going on.
Mhm.
You are basically at the forefront of most of the industry, the entertainment industry, the sports industry, the business industry, medical industry. We sit at the point where most people actually do rely on us. They don't just rely on their local doctors or their chemists. They come, they
Right.
need a barber. At the end of
That's
the
true.
day, when I started cutting, it was more about, the music scene. Everybody wanted to be an R&B singer. Everybody wanted to be a rapper. Everybody wanted to be, an actor
Yeah,
doing something. But who was behind those people? It was the barber, right?
that's true.
Yeah,
Couldn't come on the stage without a fresh cut.
exactly. I
Mhm.
mean, I used to read. Do you remember Right On?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember reading an article in there where one artist said, you have to get your hair cut as a man
Mhm.
at
Mhm.
least either once a week or twice a week. So once a week is a shape up and twice a week is the full cut. But you have to
Right.
look fresh every day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
FTD,
And
baby.
yep. And if you noticed, since the 90s, a lot more guys are starting to take care of themselves.
Right.
And as the
Thank the
generations moved on,
Lord.
yep,
Hallelujah. Mhm.
as the generations moved on and the new generations coming in, I think that is now being passed down to the new generation, and
Mhm.
they're very much into their cuts. I mean, over
Right.
here, the latest thing is always a taper fade.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas for us, it was the skin fade, taper fade, um, the Gumby, all
Yeah.
different stuffs. We were very, very
Listen,
creative
hip
back then,
hop culture.
big time.
You have to give it to hip hop culture. They really boosted the industry
Mm,
when it came to, I mean, even basketball back in the day, everybody was clean
yep,
cut, shaven, had the low cut with the waves,
yep.
and yeah, definitely, definitely.
Mm.
So do you think that young entrepreneurs getting into the game, they actually have more to learn because now they got to kind of be able to compete with the level of style and skill and the
I think,
services. Shout out to the
yeah.
sweet spot. Hopefully she could get on today. We want her to come on and say hello, sweet spot, and show us some of the services she's doing at a barbershop here, right in Canada.
Mm.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna hook her up with you. She'll have to fly to England, but she's worth
Or I can come
it.
over. I think really, to be honest, it's like the guys who are coming in now. I mean, as I was leaving the industry early 2000s, I could see that there was going to be a change, especially with the internet and the ability to actually get out there in a different way rather than your clients were a walking advertisement. Now these guys they're filming their cuts, they're
Mm-hmm.
doing online tutorials, they're on every social media outlet, and
Yeah.
it's just like it's propelled. It
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really has changed. It's become a monster within itself.
Agreed.
Yep. I mean,
Agreed.
over here now, though, I mean, in the UK, we're not regulated like they are in the US and Canada.
Mm.
A
I
license is
don't
not
know if we're
required.
really regulated here. Like, what would you say is regulated? Like, how? What would you
So
say?
we don't need we don't have to have a license to work.
Oh, like a certification of some sort.
Yeah. Even
Okay.
though I deliver the MVQs, it's not a
What's an
requirement by law.
MBQ? Is this an English
MVQ. So that's
term?
the National Vocational Qualification. So that's
Oh,
a
only.
diploma that you earn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
accent done
So,
messed me up. I thought you were saying
oh,
NBQ.
oh,
Like, what's an
sorry.
NBQ? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a requirement. So there's no fine that will come with it. And I think
Right.
really now is where we as industry professionals have to be a little bit more responsible now worldwide and weed
Mm-hmm.
out the bad from the good,
Right.
because
Yeah.
barbershops at one stage when I was actually fully involved, it was you had to walk or at least take a bus and a train to find another barbershop. There was no more than about 3 or 4 barbershops in one area.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can walk down the high street and there's about 10, 20 barbershops, and they're not even spaced out. They're like next door to each other.
Competition
Yeah,
is real, eh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Like, you better not mess up. I'm gonna go next door.
yeah. So things have to change. Things have to
Yeah,
change,
of
but it's
course.
down to the next generation now to kind of get into that and look at that and change the industry as well for the better.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a big thing. And I mean, this is from a business perspective. I like to remind people when they're getting into a business, some of the things that they should be really aware of is not just the precision or the styling or whatnot, but it's
Mm.
also the customer service. As you were saying, you have to step away,
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
do that training,
Mm.
because you have to build relationships. If you want any loyalty or brand awareness or people to talk about your style or put you on
Mm.
social media, you have to have that customer service from the time someone walks in and says hello to the time they leave the chair and give you a tip, right?
Yeah.
We spoke about social
100%.
media,
Mm.
right, and the power of branding through social media. So it's just having those key skills.
Mm.
One of the big ones, how okay, back in the day we used to have to sit for at least an hour and a half before my kid got into a barber chair.
Mm.
Tell me scheduling has gotten much better.
It has.
Oh, thank Lord.
But it's a twin-edged sword,
Hmm.
really, because barbers are able to book clients, or clients are able to book online and then walk in for their appointment at the
Hmm.
detriment of the walk-in customer, because
Mm.
any business, in order for you to get out there, you can't just expect somebody who's never been to your shop before to go online and book. They may
Okay.
know that, but
Right.
people take a chance. I think
And
what's
walk in.
happening now is that although we're moving with technology, we're forgetting about there. Not everybody will jump on social media. There are still those
Mm.
few who kind of stay away from it. Um, so what you're finding now is some clients are walking into shops expecting to be that walk-in
Hmm.
and getting told, "Sorry, I got appointments. Sorry, I got appointments. Sorry, I got appointments. Sorry, it's bookings only."
Hmm.
So then they walk into the £10 and £15 shop down the road
Right.
and get messed up because they couldn't get that appointment. You know,
Yeah.
you're wanting more money in, but then clients, those walking clients, are bringing you money because they will come in. There's still that advertisement of word of mouth
Right.
that's still
Yeah,
there.
which is big, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Referrals.
big,
That
big time. So that client who you just let walk out, he'll go down the road and get his hair cut somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, that is the sad part, is that we're neglecting those clients that have a potential of becoming your long-term clients.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you said it's a double-edged sword, and it's a catch-22, right? Because you
Mm,
can't win. You win some, you lose some, but the losing is the hard part because it's piece
yeah.
like you make money on each client, right? So it's not like you're getting a
Yes.
salary
Yeah.
and then, you know, it's all good
Yeah.
and
Mm,
let's talk a little bit about how technology is influencing the modern barbering, like from
mm.
tools to marketing. What are some of the things that you see have helped the game to elevate, like if it, from
Um,
tools?
I think the introduction of the cordless clippers, late 90s, was something that's actually I've seen evolve now. You know, you're not bound to the station that you're working at by a cord
Hmm. Right.
anymore. You don't have to worry about Jimmy running around the barbershop and pulling down your clippers because his mum or dad's not controlling them,
Right.
or you know,
That's true.
or your clippers cutting out halfway through the haircut because the wire's got a short in it,
Mm,
you know. So I think with that, the technology has literally skyrocketed in terms of like clippers. I
right.
went to a show on over the weekend in Birmingham, um, Barber Connect, and you're seeing brand new machines with longer running times, which are becoming more powerful, almost on par with corded machines. And the
Hmm.
corded machines, you still can't touch them in terms of power
Mm,
and quality of cut, but they're getting close now, very very
right.
close. I mean, we can't get half the machines you have over in the States, but they're coming.
Is
We
it
just
because
have
they're
to
not
wait.
carrying the same brands?
Well, they carry the same brands. It's just that I think sometimes the manufacturers actually hold back in terms of the market because Canada and the US is still considered their biggest marketplace.
Right.
Out in Europe, it's not so much.
Mm,
So, but they still come in. But I remember once upon a time, you used to have that guy who used to fly over, spend time for like a weekend, and then bring back machines, and then everybody would buy their machines. So I started with my first clipper was a wall clipper, which was brought over here. But then after that, all my clippers were US, and I had to have a
mm,
box to convert it. Now I don't need that no more.
nice.
We are literally free of those boxes.
Right. It's because it's is it battery operated? Like you just
Yeah, so most batteries are lithium based batteries,
right.
which allow for longer running time.
Okay.
Before when the cordless market first started, you got about 20 minutes and you were done.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can get an hour. Even I think over the weekend I saw a clipper that had a 2.5 hour running run time, which
Wow.
is 2.5 hours. If you equate that, that's probably about 7 heads. So 7 heads at 35 pound a go.
Right. So how
Yeah.
did that? Okay. So how did that work? So if you have a clipper that wasn't lasting long, did you have to buy like two clippers to keep charging
Well,
one out as one is going?
most barbers generally, me included, would have like two or three clippers on their station anyway, with
Mm-hmm.
different blades because each clipper does a different thing. So you set your blades differently. So you might
Right.
have one that's sharper at one end so that you can do patterns, and one with a
Oh, got it.
fade blade,
Yeah. Yeah.
one with
Yeah.
a taper blade. So generally,
Yeah, I'm acting
most
like I
barbers
never
will.
had boys at the barber shop. I always thought it was just
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I was saying to one of my learners yesterday or today that you know if you ever saw a barber who had one clipper on his station back in the day, and he was
Hmm.
shaping you up with that one clipper and cutting you with that one clipper, run, because he's either new or he just doesn't know what he's doing.
Or he
Yeah.
could be extremely skilled. He just knew
Well,
how to
yeah,
use the flipper.
but
Could be.
that one clipper back in the day used to get real hot.
That
Now,
way I could, yeah, right,
yeah,
and burn up your
yeah,
skin. Right? I can only
yeah.
imagine. If
So
you are
it
just joining us, I want to welcome you to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio with your girl, Miss J. We're here with Keith Gibbs all the way from the UK. It is currently now at least 12:30 a.m. in the morning, but he is here dropping some
mm,
gems. If you are getting into the barbering field, or if you're already in the barbering field, Keith has been in this field for decades, so you're kind of hearing the evolution of where it's coming. Make sure you're subscribing to Love Bay Radio if you're just joining, because the replay is always on tap. You can check it out. You can visit me at my website, empirebydesign.ca, and just hit Business Weekly, and you can see all the shows that I've done in the past. Now, we're talking about the cutting edge, the rise and innovation of barbering. So back in the day, as we were just talking about, it used to be like what he said, a razor and a good fade. But now so many things are driving this industry. We're just talking about marketing, how people are using social media to get there, the innovation aspect of the tools where they had cords and now they're cordless. Yeah, shout out to the UK, gang, gang. We also were talking about the market itself, that it's now over a 35 to 45 billion market. And that's, I mean, right now I'm hearing that it's probably jumped upwards to 70 billion, or 75 billion globally. And so this, if you are into barbering, this is a really good episode for you to take in, especially if you're just getting into the game. I think a lot of people think it's just about cutting hair, but it's a lot more competitive as that. Now we're just jumping into what are some of the biggest challenges that you see today that barbers or entrepreneurs are facing when it comes to their craft.
um I think really it's just knowledge. I mean,
And then we have a
when
question
I
after that.
yeah, when I go to what we call like conferences, or when I do a CPD, which is continuous professional development sessions, there's always a case of I only cut one type of hair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no one wants to really cross over. Um, it's sad, really, but really, hair is hair. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're type 1, whether you're type 2, 3, or 4, it doesn't really matter. If you're a barber, you should be able to cut various types of hair. You should also be able to be skilled and knowledged in the way actually the body works.
Right.
And I think a lot of barbers, when I listen or I watch YouTube videos, it's a lot of guessing or misinformation that's given out. And
Right.
I think as barbers, really, if you're getting into this game, learn about the human body. Doctors study
Mm.
for years, 5 to 6 years to get their qualification. Barbers should be doing the same, because you as a barber, you're real intimate with your client, you know. So there's things that you should know about how their body works, how their hair works, how um you know different types of diseases that are involved. And a lot of barbers are not
Mm.
learning those safety aspects, because that's the main crux: customer service and health and safety.
Right.
And I think if barbers don't change in the UK, that's where we're going to end up being policed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So give
But
an example of that, and then you have a couple questions coming in here, so I'm gonna pull it
okay.
in and ask. But give them get an example of um, the health. Like, how does that impact? Like, how does that have an
Okay,
impact?
so you have infections like folliculitis,
Mm.
which is nicknamed barber's rash, which can
That don't
come in
sound
two
good.
forms. Yeah, which comes in two
Mhm.
forms. One is a viral form, the other is a fungal form, but both attack the hair follicle itself.
Right.
And those bumps that you see on some clients' face, or they come up on the back of the head, can be quite detrimental. because if it goes
Mm,
untreated, it can cause hair loss and permanent hair loss as well.
wow.
Um, yeah. So this is where you get into trichology, which some barbers are beginning to do, get their
Mhm.
trichology certificate. And there are some non-invasive procedures that barbers should really look into because, again, it's an income.
Yeah.
So a trichology treatment probably is about £65, which probably equates to about, let me do the calculation. So about probably about $70 to $80 in Canada. So you
Hmm.
can imagine adding that to your revenue stream.
Right.
You being able to treat a client, you can do one session, or depending on how severe it is, might end up being
Right.
10 sessions. So, you got to take that into account. Also, the cleaning of your equipment. Some barbers don't clean their equipment.
Mm, that's
They spray their equipment, and then they may not
on to the
spray the
next.
equipment, they just go straight in, yeah. And then they're
Yeah.
passing it on. You could be, you don't know what diseases the first client before you had,
Right.
what
That's
infections,
so true. You're
yeah,
passing on some of the,
yeah.
yeah. Ooh, yeah. Well,
And
okay.
then there's the actual cleaning solutions themselves.
Hmm.
Barbicide is actually carcinogenic,
That
which
sounds not
means,
safe.
yeah, it's cancer causing, literally. So, you spray your equipment and then they go straight in. They don't wipe the blade off.
Oh.
Your skin, um, basically absorbs any form of moisture, oils.
Mm,
It's hydrophilic and hydrophobic. So it will absorb. It's a breathing organism. So you have to
right.
understand, you have to basically respect it. And if you don't, the
The outcomes could
consequences
be
are, yeah,
detrimental. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Wow. Here's a question coming all the way from Lagos. Hello, Adi. I hope I said that right. What's the average time should a barber take to cut hair to make it in the industry? So that's the question.
I suppose from an educational standpoint, we'll say it's about 45 minutes, but I always say give an hour. So you'd have
Mhm.
45 minutes to actually do the cut, and then another 15 minutes to clean your station before your next client.
Mhm. And when you say the cut, does that include the the wipe up and the string
Yep,
and all that kind of
yep,
stuff?
yep,
Yeah. Okay.
yep.
All right. Have another question to you here from Vancouver. Hello, Sean. It's getting expensive to go to the barbering shop. What is contributing to this? Right now, it's about $30 in Canada.
Okay, so
That's all you
um
paying, Sean? You need to come to Toronto, honey. You be up there with the 45, 50, 60, maybe. So you're getting a good cut. But yeah,
um
yeah.
I would probably say it's shop rates, business rates,
Mhm.
um, electricity, water, gas, all of those things contribute to the price that you're actually paying, which is why you're starting to see prices go up because with the cost of living, especially in the UK, I mean,
Mhm.
we've only just recently prices have just gone up and everybody's screaming, but at the end of the day, in order for your barbers to actually stay at their station, they have to put their prices up because
Yeah,
the rent needs to be paid. It's a collective, the rent is coming from everybody. So if you're an owner, yes, you might get £150 a week from each barber. And if you've
mhm.
got a shop of 8 barbers, but your rent is probably, say, on average, say about 25 to 35,000 a year, and then your business rates, which have just gone up, so that might be another 12,000 on top of that. That contributes to the prices going up.
Hmm. Okay. So rent and booth like chair
Yeah.
fees and whatnot all accumulate to that. Let's coming from Ghana, Kofi Accra. Hello, Kofi's asking us. Do you think? Well, he's not asking me. I mean, I don't know anything about barbering, but do you think modern barbers should have certificates to be allowed in the industry? So it's kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier.
Say that again. So I missed part of the
Do you
question.
think modern barbers should have certificates to be allowed in the industry?
Yes, straight up. There's no if, no buts, no maybes, because
No
it shows that
hesitation,
you,
no stutter.
yeah, it shows that you committed yourself to learn about your craft
Yeah.
from
I
the
think the view, and I just want to jump in right there. I want to bring back to something you said earlier when you said the health risk. I
mm,
don't think a lot of people think about that. I think that you don't see the people with the bumps and that stuff on TV, and
mm,
people just think it's they sit down, they get a cut, and they're up and gone.
yeah,
So I think that definitely Kofi is why one of the certifications are really needed in
mm,
terms of that. But anyways, continue. Mhm.
yeah. So, I mean, your qualification says will tell your client, especially if you put your certificate up on your station for them to see. It tells that client that you went out there and you went and studied and you are now qualified to cut, to
Mhm.
provide the right advice.
Yeah.
I mean, in the industry, you never stop learning anyway. You're learning every day, every day. There's something new that comes up.
Mhm.
But it sets a level of trust again as part of your customer service.
Yeah.
It goes in. I mean, my thing is I teach what's called the 5 fundamental rules of customer service, um, which is,
Get us on them.
which is, treat the customer as you expect, as you would like to be treated.
Mhm.
There's no, you can't win an argument with a client. Otherwise the client will walk, those I've got. Oh, I'll send you something. If your guys are interested, I'll send out some information as well with my courses. I can't go through them all because
Oh, yeah, that's right,
been up
because
all
we only
day.
have 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
They sound like they're gonna be long. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm gonna be putting up his razors and scissors. You can catch him on IG. I'll put up this QR code so you can scan and follow him. And please DM him. Ask him as many questions as you want. I don't know if you have any virtual stuff happening, but we'll talk a little bit about that if there is. Sweet Spot is asking, are facials after a cut and shave a popular add-on service in the UK?
They're becoming
Well, we will
popular.
be down there
Yeah. Yeah, they're becoming.
because
It's
we're going
getting there.
global.
It's getting there. But I think the problem that I don't like seeing is barbers who just slap a mask on without actually cleaning the face and
Hmm.
think, oh, it's cool. No.
Yeah.
Again, learn trichology, understand the products that you're using. You stick a mask on someone's face and they're allergic to it.
Hmm.
That's another lawsuit waiting to
Problem.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another problem. So, I mean, from
Mm,
a client experience, I think, what that speaks to is when you have that certification, you get a broader perspective of what a client
mm,
is and how important it is to create a unique customer experience for each of your customers. Because, like you
yeah.
said, there is a shop right beside you. So, if you
Mm.
don't take the time to give them that service, then
Someone
it
else
could
will.
somebody else will. Well, just so you know, the Sweet Spot and I, as her business coach, will be coming down to the UK to start up the Sweet Spot brand down there. Feel free to partner. Um, of you, because it's essential. I think up here it's starting to become, I mean, they're showing it now a little bit more on social media. Actually,
Mm,
where Sweet Spot, one of the spots that Sweet Spot Services is just doing a whole reno to embrace the expanded service. So hopefully we'll have them
mm,
on and be able to. I was hoping to have them here today with you, but definitely we'll have to do
mm,
another segment because there's a lot of interest clearly into this.
yeah.
Few points from a business perspective. That unique experience is something that you need to. So look at additional services like scalp massages, hair treatments,
Mm,
grooming packages. And I think the barbershop has always had that community vibe.
yeah.
Does that still exist? Is it still
Yeah,
you
it
kind
does.
of
I
come
mean,
and chill? Hmm.
yeah, I mean, the barbershop is always a place. It's always the cornerstone of any community, especially within the Afro-Caribbean community.
Right.
Big time. It's always been that place where you can come. If you have a problem with somebody, you go to the barbershop. That barber
Hmm.
will sort it out, bring you
It's like
together
instead of going
and
to the bar, go to
yeah,
the barber shop. Got
yep.
it.
They'll sort it out.
Don't
You'll
drink.
find advice.
Stay.
You'll find anything you want, any information you need. It's normally the barber
Oh,
shop
yeah.
you go to. But
Love
one
it.
thing I
Love
will
it.
say though, for
Mm-hmm.
barbers, and this is from a business perspective, that when you get into this industry, make sure you have a get out plan.
Mm.
And I'm talking about a retirement package. What are you gonna do? Because as barbers, a lifespan of a barber is not what most people think it is. It's actually grueling work and it takes a toll on your body.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
you
standing
have to
long
have,
days, yeah.
yeah. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
have a get out plan, and you have to be able to kind of expand your business plan beyond the scope of just a shop. Yeah.
And that could come
You,
in the forms of the products. It could come in forms of developing
is
like things like that, right? And
yeah,
even looking
exactly.
at
Exactly.
partnerships, running your own shop, and
Mm,
giving the younger generation, as you said, a place to go.
yeah.
Last topic before we wrap up. Where do you see the barbering industry heading in the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you think that's gonna land?
Um, I guess it's going you're what you're gonna see is probably like in the UK, there's going to be, I definitely think there's going to be a shortage of shops. The amount of shops on the high street is going to shrink
Mm,
because this government here is like, well, hold on a minute, that's a revenue stream that's coming in. That's we're not taking advantage of. It's still the
yeah,
only business where we can still get cash in hand,
right.
and you know, you don't have to pay it straight to the government. You have a literal ceiling wall of money that you can say you've earned. And if you earn under that, you don't have to pay HMRC. You
Hmm.
just say, "Oh, I didn't meet my yearly amount." Okay,
Hmm.
cool. But here's my voluntary national insurance and here's my voluntary tax.
They're
Yeah.
coming. They're
Yep.
coming, no matter
But
death
they're
and
coming for it.
taxes. The only two
Yeah.
things in the world. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much, Keith, for being here, for sharing your expertise. We definitely will have you back on the show again to talk more about barbering and this industry that's going to be growing. If you
Mhm.
do want to reach out to Keith, I encourage you to follow him on Instagram. Let me just throw him up here. I'll get the producer to put up that slide. Please just take your phone and scan. And if you're on your phone listening, take a quick screenshot. It's here for you right here. Follow Keith Gibbs, Razors and Scissors on, and he also has another one, an educational one. What's that
Yeah.
one?
That's grassroots barbering.
Oh, there it
Um
is.
yeah.
So,
So
but
that is solely basically going to be about education in barbering. So I will be posting stuff on their information. So if there is anybody in the UK listening, if you're doing your MVQ level 2, level 3, I will be posting the exam questions on there with information to help you get through your exam.
okay, you're allowed to post with the exam
I'll be
or
posting the
like practice
questions.
questions.
Yeah,
Don't be trying to
they're
get yourself
questions.
fired now, okay? Because Miss J can't be taking care of your bills now. Okay. So let's just put that on camera real quick. He
Yeah,
did not say the actual test questions, but practice questions that are going to help you to get your exam.
yeah,
Just clear that up and
yeah,
save you
yeah.
the problems. All right. Thanks, Keith. I will
You're
be
welcome.
going to put you back in the green room and I'll be with you in a minute. We're just going to wrap up with my audience and then we're going to close down. I'll see you soon. So that's a wrap for today on the episode of Business Weekly here on Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. The barbering industry is truly at a crossroads because it's blending craftsmanship, innovation, and entrepreneurism like never before. I want to thank our expert and our guest for sharing his insights and experiences. And remember, in this industry, a great haircut is just the beginning. It's about creating a brand, a community, an experience that keeps the clients coming back. And that's where I come in. As a business strategist, as I say, I'm a drip strategist and boss methodologist. I help you to build the right operational systems and skills to ensure that you are delivering not only the unique client experience, but building a lasting, sustainable business that you can build into a legacy for years to come. If this topic hit home, be sure to follow us here, right here on Love Bay Radio. We are looking to drive our numbers up. We are all over the world, but we still need to get our YouTube subscribers up. Share this episode, connect with me on IG at Empire by Design _ or on LinkedIn. And if you missed a past episode, subscribe to Love Bay YouTube channel or go to my website at empirebydesign.ca. Join us next week on Business Weekly right here for more inspiring stories, practical insights, and as always, tips, tools, and tricks to make sure that you continue growing. Remember to be committed, stay consistent, and join the Love Bay community, because that's what's going to strengthen your why. There are so many other shows here that are going to help you to develop. And I'm proud to be part of the Love Bay family. And I want you to continue flying by building your commitment and consistency to this community. So as I say to all my clients, and I'm going to say to all my listeners, keep your head in the sky, spread your wings, and let's fly. I'm Miss J, your hostess with the mostest, drip strategist and boss methodologist, and I'll see you next week right here on Business Weekly. Deuce.